Two teams, one town. It's about to happen again in the National Hockey League. Mike Rodriguez, Nathan Wood, Jeff Kavanaugh hanging out with you guys right up until the start of Fan Bowl tonight at the House of Blues. Doors open down there around 6 o'clock. For more information, go to our website, 1053thefan.com. Let's go back to this topic. Two teams in one town. The NHL is about to shift gears a little bit, either find a new team or move one of the existing teams to Toronto, of all things. This past week, the suburban Toronto city of Markham, Ontario, voted 7-6 to go ahead with its plans to fund a new $325 million arena, which would lure another NHL hockey team to the Toronto area. They think it will work. I think it'll probably work, too. They love their hockey up there. That, to them, is the equivalent of our football. Now, I want to spin this on a local angle. Let's open this up to all the sports in this town. Let's go basketball. Let's go baseball. Let's go football. Which team would you want to see the most? Another sports franchise that you'd want to see the most come right here to the Metroplex. Why? Why not? And which one would actually thrive the way it thrives in Chicago, the way it thrives in New York, the way it thrives in Los Angeles?
I think this is simple, solely based upon three words, Mike. Friday Night Lights. In the state of Texas, football is king. And the Dallas Cowboys are the biggest known commodity in the NFL. Whether they suck or not, they sell the most merchandise, they have the nicest stadium, they are the biggest brand. What comes along with that is people that just hate them for being who they are. A lot of Mets fans are Mets fans because they grow up hating how everybody likes the Yankees. There are tons of people here in the Metroplex, even though the star is the most well-known logo in the NFL, that absolutely hate the Cowboys because everybody else talks about them. Everybody else likes them. And if you put another football team here, whether you want to put it in Fort Worth, whether you want to put it in McKinney or Frisco or wherever, and you said, look, this can be your team so you can root for a local geographically tied team and not have to root for the Cowboys. There are enough people in the Metroplex, in the state, within a 10-mile radius that would come here and cheer for a team in the Metroplex that was not the Cowboys.
You're saying that there's enough Cowboys haters
Absolutely.
that would jump on the new Dallas Slingshots or whatever.
Oh, that's a good name. Yeah, that's another thing. Autoflex Leasing Fantex. If you want to name our other team here and whatever team you want to bring, baseball, hockey, whatever, name that team for us as well.
Dallas Football Stars. Where there's the New York Baseball Giants, or New York Football Giants, Baseball Giants in San Francisco.
I dig.
Or you got to just go with a whole completely new name.
A whole new name. Yeah, I want
Desperados.
Taken.
What was the team after the Desperados left? They changed it to like the Avengers or something.
Hold on.
Oh, crap.
They had the picture. He had his little mask on. He looked like a bandit.
The Avengers or...
I thought that was the Desperados
No,
with
that
the
was
guy
the
with the little
second
mask.
go-around.
They did. Yeah, theirs was like that.
Oh, this was like the Chris Sanders team.
The Renegades. I don't know.
Something like that.
I don't know.
Two teams in one town. This is the town. Which team would you want to see added? What sport? Would it be baseball? Would it be football? You want to add another NBA team? You're not going to add another hockey team because the one hockey team we have now is struggling. But I want to open it up to you guys at 43733, even at 877-881-1053. My pick, my dream wish would be to add another baseball team. If I had your genie in the bottle sports wish, I would love to see a downtown National League baseball park, and you've got an amazing rivalry between Dallas and the Arlington-Fort Worth Rangers, and you just go at it. I mean, go at it like Yankees and Mets, go at it like Cubs and White Sox, Dodgers and Angels. And to me, I actually think a pro baseball team would do better than a pro football team in this town. It would kill the Rangers.
Really?
Yes, it would kill the Rangers, but I think it would just be a booming a commodity for a growing downtown area.
But
and
Mike,
it would change the landscape of downtown.
Here's the problem. You have the Fort Worth Cats. You have the Grand Prairie Air Hogs.
Not in Dallas. Not in downtown Dallas.
But my thing is, like, you have baseball you have the Rough Riders in Frisco, okay?
Not in downtown Dallas.
And I know it's not pro, and I know it's not in Dallas. But my thing is that, have you been to Arlington in the middle of the summer when it's 110 degrees? Unless you make this a dome, you're going to have the same attendance problem. And I don't know if there are enough people in DFW that want to stick out the heat.
Retractable roof.
If you build that, then I'm more on board with that.
I'll stop going to Ranger games. You make a retractable roof.
Yeah, if you put it indoors, if it's just give me what Minute Maid Park, is that where the Astros play?
Right.
Give me Minute Maid Park in downtown Dallas. And Mark Cuban thought of this idea. He was going to put it right down there by the convention center. He was going to build another baseball stadium that was going to hold like 40,000 fans, I think. I just don't know. I know baseball is huge here. I know the Rangers are huge here. But it is a more football town than it is a baseball town. And I understand the fact that Dallas compared to Arlington, where people around here don't have to go all the way down 30. But you're talking about a lot of people that during the summer, when there's 162 games, I don't know what 162 times 2 is. I'm just going to say close to 350. That's 350 games where you're splitting the now baseball.
324.
No, you're splitting 82 home games.
Well, I'm saying, but you still have to be a fan when they're on the road. You can't just be a fan when they're. So you're talking about now I'm splitting the baseball fandom here in Dallas, Fort Worth, over now 350 games, and I just don't know if people can stomach that much baseball.
I think what this town wants, though, is events. They love the event part of it. They don't necessarily like the game as much as the diehard sports fans love the X's and O's of the game. They love the event. If you gave them something downtown on this wish list, if it was another baseball team, they would go. They would actually draw. In my opinion, they would draw more than the ball club out in Arlington. Your thing is football, and I think football would be just as cool. And you get a Dallas Texans football. Yeah, you already got the Houston Texans, but you get a Dallas football team playing at the Cotton Bowl, and you blow that thing out. That would be a great entity for Dallas.
My problem is my only problem with my own pick is what owner wants to come to DFW to compete with Jerry Jones. I know there are fans that will go to the game. Football, the NFL would do them a favor. It's like the Jets and the Giants. They don't ever play at home on the same weekend. So every week, you would either have a Cowboy game in Arlington or you'd have a Dallas fill-in-the-blank mascot here downtown. Now, you couldn't call it the Dallas because that's already, I don't know, what would you call it?
What, the Cotton Bowl area?
I mean, would you call it like the... I don't even know what that... Because, the Dallas Cowboys are in Arlington. What would you call the team down here?
Maybe you just make it generic and call
the Texas something.
Yeah, the Texas something.
The Texas Texans. We'll go with that. Texas Oklahoma.
I'd call them the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, well, I mean,
like, you guys
Dallas
aren't
Cowboys.
Dallas
Cowboys.
You've got two New York teams. I mean, they weren't sitting there saying, "Hey, we got to call these. We got to call them the Flushing Mets or the Bronx Yankees."
I'll give you that. But I mean, can we agree that there's no way two basketball teams could work here?
It'd be tough. I think football would probably be the best bet because I've been to a lot of football cities that are dying and that are on life support. Jacksonville is awful. I mean, that's pathetic. That if you had the Dallas Jaguars, I guarantee you more people would go to the Cotton Bowl on Sundays than they would Jacksonville. Jacksonville doesn't deserve a football team right now. They're pathetic.
I don't think they deserve professional teams, period.
They don't.
That place should be only for Georgia against Florida and nothing else.
You know, Cleveland got a team back. I took in a game at the Brown Stadium a couple of years ago. There's some diehard fans out there that deserve it.
San Diego doesn't want their team.
San Diego really doesn't. I mean, they're pushing it. That fan base is really pushing them out of that town. Where I think you're right. I think there would be enough diehard football fans here to wrap themselves around the Dallas Jaguars. Sounds like a strip club.
I think there is one, isn't
there?
Jaguars is in Arlington.
Yeah, I had a girlfriend that worked at Jaguars for a while. I think they changed the name of it. I don't know. It was a good place.
Because they're getting ready for the Dallas football Jaguars.
Yeah, I mean, it was no baby dolls, but it was a decent establishment. I have no problem with the stripper.
My problem, or I guess the solution to it would be can it only be in downtown? Now, our main focus, obviously the Stars and the Mavericks are right here in downtown. But when you talk about our other two Metroplex teams there in Arlington, so basically our one solution would be those two teams in Arlington, bring them closer to downtown, bring them closer to everything off 75 where people like Jeff who come from, the northeast part of Dallas only have to drive 25 minutes instead of 45 to get all the way to Arlington.
And traffic. That
would be one thing. If you put it in downtown, the traffic would be god-awful.
Well, you build the city around the park. I mean, that the people
City's
would,
already here, Mike.
But I'm saying you build the city up around the park.
They did build that nice bridge with the huge white arc. That might lead right to the stadium.
I think the 972 nailed it on the Autoflex Leasing fan text. All the Jerry and Romo haters would love it.
Absolutely.
We would love. I mean, can you imagine
It's-
being a sports broadcaster in this town with
Mike,
two NFL teams?
It is the absolute embodiment of being the backup quarterback. Whatever team this is, they would go, anytime the Cowboys even lost a game, you could sit there and go, are we going to call them the Dallas Jaguars? Let's just leave it at that for now.
Can we
Okay?
not?
We're naming them after a strip club because strip clubs
let's
are so big here.
Let's go with the fan text, the one I've seen the most. Texas Tornadoes.
Texas Tornadoes
Stop
is
saying
pretty
the
good.
Dallas
Tornadoes.
Jaguars.
That is pretty
Okay,
good.
Texas Tornadoes.
I like that.
All you're going to do is you immediately become the backup quarterback syndrome where you know nothing about my team yet, but the stadium's being built and I already know my team's going to be better in the years because you're the Cowboys, you have Tony Romo, and you're 8-8 and 8-8, and you suck. And I think that's why it would be successful because, like I said, the Cowboys are such a popular brand that people just hate them for being so popular. You remember the prettiest girl at your school, right? If you couldn't date her, what did you do? You'd be like, man, what a bitch.
Talking about
Man,
Chelsea Greenwald at Boyd Elementary.
Chelsea.
Yeah,
I wonder if Chelsea Greenwald's listening right now and just had a flip out.
she's married now.
Wonder if her husband's listening.
Boyd Elementary. I tell you what, there was Chelsea Greenwald, Mindy Gottney, Jessica Bell, Jennifer Bell. They were sisters a year apart.
A lot of
Dated them
bells,
both.
yeah. Dimitri Bell.
I didn't date him or her.
But that's what they are. They're the pretty girl that
Right.
if you can't get them and you're not on board with them, you go somewhere else and you say, man, I have something better than her.
And if you join us late, this topic kind of came up this week because Toronto is thinking about adding another hockey team. So the equivalent, and trust me, I'm not a huge hockey guy, but I'm assuming that Toronto is one of the meccas for hockey in that sport. And if Toronto is thinking outside the box and saying, you know what, let's do it. Let's add another hockey team in Toronto. You think the NFL or the Masters that be have ever even considered this, adding another football team to Dallas, as big as football is here?
I would think so.
You think Jerry Jones has ever, been not able to sleep at night thinking, you know what? What if the NFL adds another team?
He won't let it happen.
What if Jerry owned them both?
Oh.
Because Jerry would just be like,
Like
no,
Mr.
you're not moving in
Wow.
here. You guys want another
Like
team?
Mr.
That's
Burns?
fine. Yeah, I'll run it.
I don't
Not a
think you
big
could
deal.
add both. I don't think you could own both.
Oh, what if
Jerry would
what
vote
if
on it.
Steven owned it?
Oh,
I'd be okay with that.
That'd be
That'd be
greatness.
pretty funny.
But here's the other thing. We're forgetting an entire side of this Metroplex. Fort Worth, I understand Arlington is basically right in the middle. But if you put something out in Fort Worth, does that not just build right into the already naturally
No.
built rivalry between Fort Worth and Dallas?
no, they already have it. They already have Arlington.
Is that theirs?
That's theirs.
So they claim Arlington
Yes.
proper,
Yes.
and then they're going against Dallas.
But
They
wait,
can
couldn't
have it.
Fort
It's-
Worth say that you need to put this in downtown Fort Worth because Dallas has Arlington?
It's 10 stinking minutes from Fort Worth. You can have that then. I mean, they won. They won. Nothing against Fort Worth people.
Fort Worth is a better city than Dallas, by the way.
Downtown wise, yeah,
I don't get
I'll
to get
agree
out
with
there
you.
very often,
I'll
but
agree
it's
with you.
better.
I think downtown Fort Worth is a better call than downtown Dallas. Now, I'd rather live in the Dallas suburbs than the Fort Worth suburbs, but for me being a sports fan, I think you have this built-in, an amazing opportunity to have just an awesome rivalry between the two.
All right, here's what I want you to do. Since you're so tight with Mark Cuban, you emailed him and he immediately emailed you back. I want you to get back on his proposal. He brought this up. They were going to be called the Trinity something or others, and it was going to be down by the convention center, and his whole idea was that he thought bringing a baseball team to Dallas, he'd be able to take over the downtown area and everything up 75.
Now, I might not have been here. I might have been in Nashville when this happened. But was this Cuban's idea to bring in the Air Hogs or Fort Worth Cats type of team? Was this a semi-pro team?
He was going to bring in an affiliate that hopefully he could eventually, but they were going to build the stadium, I believe, for a pro level team. But he was going to
maybe
make
even
it,
a double-A team?
Initially, it was going to be an affiliate, and then he was going to be able to boost them up to the major league level. But I think they were going to try and make it like the AAA team. He was going to try and take away. Where's the AAA team now? Round Rock?
Round Rock.
Yeah, he was going to try and make it to where instead of being in Round Rock, it was in Dallas.
Which I think would be great. I mean, the Rough Riders do a great job up in Frisco, and I know they draw well up there. Major League Baseball would do well in downtown Dallas. I'm convinced of that. But you know what? You've kind of convinced me. I'm more convinced that football would be a lot more fun. A team down at the Cotton Bowl would be a lot more fun because you've got the two rivalries. And I wonder what Jerry's take would be on this.
We'll ask him one day. He's not here right now. Don't worry about it.
Well,
Damn it.
I'm always here. I tell you that.
You're always listening to your flagship station, aren't you?
I do.
Yeah.
And I will. And I would welcome another team here. I would. I really would, and I mean that. But I would murder whoever owned it. And then whoever replaced him, I would kill him too.
So you go Ray Lewis on him.
All the time. Stab everybody. Mm-hmm.
Of course, that's not really Jerry. He would never say anything like
No.
God forbid we assume Jerry
we
Jones would
appreciate
stab
that.
somebody.
Jerry, where would you want that stadium built? Would you want it in Fort Worth or downtown Dallas?
I'd put it inside the stadium. The one I already have.
In the parking lot.
I'd put one inside. It would be a retractable stadium inside a stadium.
Like an inflatable stadium.
It would like fold out. Like a
Fold
pop-up,
out.
like a pop-up book.
Now, what if you brought in a team that went the bottom line of, especially football-wise, we're the civilians team. We have cheaper tickets. We have cheaper food, cheaper parking.
Well, we're
Because
old
how
school. They'd be the
expensive is-
anti-Cowboys. And I
Exactly.
think-
If
yeah.
you brought a team anywhere and you said, look, drive 20 minutes farther, but your tickets are going to be half price. I'll give you free parking, and it's a team based upon building a fan base rather than making a lot of money. Hell, you might succeed right off the bat.
You have an automatic marketing campaign that they're the non-Cowboys. They're the anti-Cowboys. They're playing on grass. They're playing in an old stadium. They're playing in an open-air stadium. Yeah, you know, I mean, they're really the dirty, nitty-gritty football team in this town. It would be fun. It would be a lot of fun.
We should definitely just get two of all. That would make our jobs easier. We would have a lot more storylines to talk about.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine being a sports broadcaster in this town if that happened? How much fun we would have with the two?
You know what would happen? We'd avoid one. Because New York, they avoid
They avoid
8
the
professional
Jets?
teams, and I guarantee you they avoid 6 of them.
They become the Jets, you think?
I'd be the biggest bandwagon fan ever. I already am.
I would wonder, I want to know right now in New York when the last time anybody talked about the New York Islanders.
Well, I was watching the NBA does a really good
NHL
show.
'98, they were called the Long Island Islanders. I had that game.
Solid.
Yeah.
I think it's called the not the League or something, but they're doing like a documentary show on the Brooklyn Nets this year. And they
Called Darren, You Should Have Been in Dallas. I think that's what it's called.
or Avery, we miss you. You know,
Do we really?
I love Avery Johnson.
Didn't he
was
get
a
fired
good dude.
already?
Yeah, he's fired.
Yeah.
But they were talking
D-Will
just
got him fired.
they were talking just about that, how nobody was talking about the Nets, and they would always just talk about the Knicks, and it was just they were just the second bastard child of the group.
But we've got the $1 million question, gentlemen, from the 469 on the AutoFlex Leasing fan text 43733. The ultimate question.
And I know the answer to this.
What
by the way.
about soccer? That's what we need. More real football.
Is that Gavin's phone number?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I miss soccer at the Cotton Bowl. I'm one of the few. I remember it back in the day.
Who played there?
The Dallas Burn. Before they became FC Dallas.
Was that the team with Tito or Tato? Or what was his
No,
name?
that was
Tattoo?
Tattoo.
that was the
And that was
Sidekicks.
the Sidekicks.
Oh.
And they played at Reunion
Tattoo.
Arena.
Yeah.
And he took his shirt off and he threw it in the stands.
And the Sidekicks, believe it or not, are the first Dallas sports team to win a game at the American Airlines Arena, at the American Airlines Center. They're the very first. That was the very first sporting event ever held at the American Airlines Center. I
You
covered
will
that
win
game.
that trivia contest with me every day.
Yes.
Because 10 minutes from now, I won't remember that you said that.
And Tattoo scored a goal there. It was a great night at the AAC. It was the very first night. But I think soccer at the Cotton Bowl was a lot of fun. I mean, back in the day, it didn't draw as much. I think anything at the Cotton Bowl is great. I want them to do wrestling again at the Cotton Bowl. For all the diehard wrestling
So we have
fans who remember
Gavin
that.
in the building, and now we have Troy in the building.
I actually watched the Royal Rumble.
Oh, I don't even want to
I
get
went
into
to one of
this.
those-
Oh, my God.
Well, I watched it. I won't say I bought it. I'll say I watched it. And it was weird because I didn't know anybody except The Rock. But The Rock won, so that was cool.
And speaking of wrestling,
He's a champion again.
he
The
is, by
Rock.
the way, beat CM Punk. And
Dropped the people's elbow after The Rock bottom.
you'll appreciate
stuff.
this text, by the way, if you're a wrestling fan. And I'm giving you props on this one. Does everyone on the Texas Tornadoes have to have just one foot? And that's a Kevin Von Erich, or that's a Curry Von Erich reference, by the way. So I got that. The wrestling fan that texted into that.
I did not.
I appreciate that.
I know
Absolutely.
Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, and The Ultimate Warrior.
And Rikishi.
That's what I know.
Curry Von Erich was known as
Tatanka.
Curry Von Erich was known as the Texas Tornado, guys. And there's a huge Von Erich fan base out here. He got into a motorcycle accident and lost part of his foot. And he then came back to wrestle with one foot. And not that many people knew that he was wrestling on one foot. And then, unfortunately, he had some drug issues and he ended up, I think, committing suicide. It was a real tragic story. But the Texas Tornado ended up having one foot. So the alternative football team in this town might not want to go with Texas Tornadoes.
But there's already a good country song for it. It's all good. Have you heard that song? Like my little Texas tornado blowed
It
me
still sounds like
away.
Jerry singing.
It does.
Well, I don't know.
All right, so fan texted in before we get off this AutoFlex leasing fan text. Where do you want it in DFW? Do you want it in McKinney, Frisco, Fort Worth? What other team are you going to make two teams in this one town? Baseball, football, basketball. Apparently, we need another wrestling venue. Just fan text it in, let us know, and text us what your team name is going to be. Apparently, don't make it the Texas Tornadoes, or you have to tell a sad story about motorcycle accidents and
Kunta
suicide.
Kinte.